leading the field coming around. It's going to be all spec 991.2s with a couple of GT2s mixed in the field as well. Glad to have you back with us here on Porsche Owners Club YouTube channel. My name's Jeremy Scott. Thanks for joining us. Field coming down the straightaway, eyes on the starter, and we are green. There's a whole bunch of 992s, 991s, I should say, come up to speed pretty quickly through turn number one. You see how windy it is. It's just very shaky. We'll get a view of them coming through turn three here shortly, but either way, Monsalve gets the nose out front through turn number one. We'll see if Johnson has anything to say about that as they work their way through turn number two. And indeed, it's still Monsalve, Johnson, and Olbers. As Olbers, I should say, it's actually Dwayne Selby making his way into third place. So Selby is doing quite well so far as he's going to go side by side with Johnson. Johnson's going to shove him way up in that high line through turn number three. Green flag is out for the second wave. We'll talk about that in a second. But watch this battle for second place as Johnson gets that back in turn number five and goes single file. So far, so good as the rest of the field starts to go wave through. Paul Wren and Brett Viglio were on the front row for that last wave, but it looks like Wren got the better start as they are coming down the back straightaway-ish around turn number 8. Now they'll set themselves up for turn number 9 for the first time at speed. And it's going to be Mike Monsalve up front ahead of Nathan Johnson and Dwayne Selby. Olbers falling back into the clutches. I should say he fell back into the clutches further because Prodescu looks like the she's up there as well. And according to time, it's Monsalve, Johnson, Selby, Olbers, and Benade, your top 5. Wesley, Prodescu, Boyce, Stone, and Hellman round out your top 10 overall. Hellman, right now, your GT2 leader. But Abiaggi in the number 824 closing in on that lead. If Osei can get a good run, that's going to be quite interesting. You're on board right now with one of the, that's actually going to be Nathan Johnson sitting back there in second place. As you see how these two, a little bit of tap of the brakes there, going down into the run through the 5, 6, 7 complex. He's holding tight on Monsalve. That's something that is not easily attained. Monsalve taking a defensive line going into turn number 8, which is a little odd, but either way, it's going to be an interesting race, and that tells me that Monsalve knows that Johnson, he can't shake away Johnson that much, though. Look at how good he is through the 8-9 complex as Johnson, though, gets back on under the rear wing of Monsalve heading through turn number 1. Let's listen in a little bit. Oh, you saw that right there as Johnson gets the lead back. We'll see how long he takes it. You take a look at the mirror, and Monsalve, he's fallen back just a little bit. So for the time being, Nathan Johnson, your pole sitter, back up to the point. That's giving Dwayne Selby a chance to close in. And Selby, I'll tell you what, he got shot out of a cannon. Look at how good that he has been so far this race, as he is knocking at the door of second place on Mike Monsalve. And that's not something that Mike wants. He doesn't want to lose 2 spots in basically one lap, but he is trying to close in again on Nathan Johnson. That was a fantastic pass right there. It just goes to show if you can plan it and keep it there, that's going to make things just a little bit easier for you a little bit later on. But Johnson starting to open up that gap and say, so long, see you later, boys. Go back to GT3 right now, as we'll keep an eye on this battle for the class overall lead. But you saw how Gaviglio, he's also one that's having problems shaking some competitors. Let's go on board. Actually, stick with this, because look at the battle back there for third between Salzer, Town, and Janaszak Jr. Remember, we were talking in qualifying that right here, these 3 were part of the 5 that I thought were going to be very close to one another in terms of battles. I thought Well, I also thought Ren was going to be a part of that too, but Ren is hanging tight right there on Gaviglio as they come across lines. 1.4 seconds last time by. That gap just a little bit longer, but the Salzertown-Janaszak battle, this is absolutely fantastic. It's about a second separating all three of those drivers. And yeah, right now, Salzer, the head of that train. Let's actually go to, let's see what happens here through turn number 2. As you see, Gaviglio opening up a little bit bigger gap through turn number 2. And that gap growing just a little bit. So let's go on board with Gaviglio, as he is quite a distance back to Rich Gildersleeve, and you get to see how tight and how good the 70 is. Of course, he's finished no worse than second place so far this season in GT3 competition. So we'll see look how beautiful this track is right now with open spaces. Of course, there are also talks to revamp this track as well. They've done stuff to the streets of Willow Springs. They're working on the kart track as we speak. So once that's done, I think they're going to move over to this track, which is, look, it's a beautiful track to begin with, but I think it's going to be even better once they get everything going for it. And let's see if we can look out on the right side of the screen. No, nothing there for any sort of battles. But this battle between Salzertown and Janaszak, that's just going to heat up even further throughout. And of course, there's Scott Matz and Jim Steedman. Great to see both of those drivers joining us so far this year. Let's see if we can also catch up with back to the 991.2 battle. We'll watch and see how much bigger Gaviglio has a gap, and this time by showing up as 2.1 seconds. So Gaviglio starting to open up the gap. Let's go on board with Nathan Johnson, your leader once again. He's got 1.2 seconds ahead of Mike Monsalve, who, if you look at Monsalve's record so far this season, outside of a DQ in race number 2 at Chuckwalla, he's been doing nothing but staying up there at the point. But for the time being, it's still Nathan Johnson, as he is just logging fast lap after fast lap. Last time by a 20.7 out of the number 76 is the first race of the season for Johnson, as he is looking for a win here in competition, going through turn number 3, now setting up for turn number 4. So smooth through that section. And take a look at the steering wheel too. It's not a conventional steering wheel. I can't see the bottom, but I know the top, he has it chopped the top off. And for drivers like him, it seems like it works quite well, because you're not muscling around too much. But still, Johnson trying to do what he can to open up a big lead, coming around to complete 6 laps. There'll be 7 laps to go this next time by. And what a great start for Nathan Johnson in the 76. Back there's the Olbers Benade battle. You see Blair Boyce trying to go around the inside to Anna Pradescu across the line. And now that's going to be outside. So Pradescu's going to have the advantage. But Boyce, nice little shutdown there through turn number 1. Boyce later on the brakes, but Pradescu, she's holding her own through turn number 1. Let's see how she does through turn number 2, as they'll be coming out of 2 here just very, very shortly. And I think that Anna got the better of him. Let's see here. They both have very similar cars. Yeah, Anna getting the better of Blair Boyce for 7th place. And look, like we said, there's going to be great battles. Benatti trying to go around the outside, not going to make anything happen. Pradescu nips off that inside line to Blair Boyce, and she is holding her own so far. Anna with 3 seconds, a 3rd and a 4th so far this season. A 7th, it's not going to seem very good, but look at the way she's racing so far, as now she's closing in on Garrett Wessling for that 6th spot. I've got to say, Anna's been very good so far this year, really putting that 100 Liqui-Moly 991.2 Cup car up to its paces. As everybody working their way around, you see the GT3, GT4 wave coming up through turn number 4, but really watching this battle for 6th and 8th place right now. Actually, it's going to be a 3-car battle for 6 here shortly. Let's see if Boyce pops out going into turn number 1 once again. We saw him show a nose. He's still side by side as Anna gives him the outside line, but he decides discretion is the better part of valor. Move Anna Pedescu to 7th places. Blair Boyce now has his shot at going up to Garrett Wessling for that 6th spot. There's 2nd. There's 3rd place. Dwayne Selby making his way to 3rd. Olbers falling back into the clutches of Eben Benade. As you see, Anna Pedescu trying to do all she can to get around Blair Boyce for that 8th position, and they're nose to tail. But Boyce, once he got around Anna, he shot out of there like a cannon, as now they're side by side once again, and Anna's going to try her best to see if she could get a tighter line through 5. Not going to make it happen. Now they'll come down single file through turn number 8. You see them coming around there right now. About 1 to 2 car lengths separate the 80 from the 100. Of course, back there you also have the Hellman Appiaggi battle for GT2 lead. And it's also for 10th place overall. Let's see if Blair Boyce does anything here to Wessling. He was about a half a second faster than Wessling this past time by Wessling, the 722 blue Cup car, with Boyce in the white, black, and red Cup car making their way around. Of course, Appiaggi still trying to shake down Hellman. About a second separates the two of those drivers. But Olbers now open up bigger gap between he and Benade, but Wessling now starting to see a bigger and bigger white and black Porsche behind him, and every single ounce of track is now Boyce is on the back bumper of Wessling in the 722 as he dives his way out of turn number 5. Takes a little bit tighter approach, he does this time by, as they work their way down the back straightaway. And yeah, Wessling he's got to try and defend the best he can. I have a feeling that Boyce is going to be able to make one of those great moves in turn 1 that he tried on Pedescu. Of course, Pedescu hanging on as well to that back bumper. So what she couldn't get done against Wessling, she might have to wait a couple laps and maybe a position or more later as they work their way around that final corner once again. Coming out of turn number 9, it's still Wessling, and there we go. Boyce now reeling in Wessling. Let's see if he makes a move to the outside, because Wessling's not going to let him. He's basically never run a nice defensive line going into turn 1, so Wessling will have that position for the time being. It's just going to take another lap. I mean, look, we're working 4 laps to go. Johnson 3.6 seconds ahead of Monsalve. When was the last time we heard somebody ahead of Monsalve on the track? It's been quite a while. Not only that, but just opening up that gap bigger and bigger. Up and around turn 4 they come, as Wessling can take a little bit higher line, but Pedescu really trying that high line around turn number 4. Didn't work out for her just yet, as they're coming up on lap traffic. Oh, got a spinner in the back. Not sure who that is, but somebody testing out the dirt. It is a white Porsche. Might be Salzer in the 10. Hard to see with the shaking camera. Or no, that's actually going to be, I'm sorry, the 23 of Williams, possibly off-course drivers right coming out of turn number 2. We'll see if he can get back underway, but still 3 laps to go. Nathan Johnson, Mike Monsalve, your leader. And I'm going to go back and retract what I said, because it could be anybody at this time, as we'll wait to see what happens when these cars go by. If somebody falls back just a little bit. Wessling, 1/10 of a second behind, ahead of Boyce and Pedescu. As Pedescu, she's able to get going once again. Here comes that Cup car coming off of the dirt. There's your leaders. 3rd place. And there we go. So let's go to Johnson real quick. And oh man, I'll tell you what, that was close right there. I thought we were going to see Steedman Try and play block here as he's trying to go around. Let's see who that is. It's actually going to be 697. So that's going to be Heldman. Heldman with the spin, and looks like he's just going to limp it right back to the pits because he might have an issue with one of either his car or one of his tires. Looks like the left rear a little lower on the 697. So Heldman, your GT2 leader, gives up the ghost to Osei Apiagi, who has by the way, a 9-second lead to Paul Barnes. And look at how well Johnson is just slicing and dicing his way through traffic. 2 laps to go, and his big lead is shrunk a little bit. It's now 4.9 seconds back to Monsalve. Dwayne Selby, 2.7 seconds behind him. Then you've got the Benade-Olbers battle, and Benade able to work his way into the 4th position. And let's see here. Thomas Stone still catching up there. Blair Boyce, he's throwing everything at Garrett Wessling, but what an awesome defense by the 722 so far. Those are about the only 2 big battles that we have going on, as Johnson picking his way through traffic, lap traffic, making it very easy for him, I should say, as they do here in the Porsche Owners Club. Very respectful racing if you're looking for something to somewhere to race, I should say, here on the West Coast. As Johnson knows he's got a decent size gap behind Monsalve, but he can't give up too much because we know how ruthless and basically how quick Monsalve can be here in the end. Coming down the front straightaway, it'll be the final lap of competition for today for the Porsche Owners Club. White flag is out, 1 lap to go. And they're going to work their way around once again. Battle for position between Wessling and Boyce. Boyce has the inside line through turn number 1. They're leaning on each other. Wessling shuts the door on him. A fantastic pass to the inside there that Wessling had. And here's the thing, this battle for position, it's going to be even tighter because look who's caught up. Could be Monsalve catching up to the back of the traffic, as Selby also back there as well. Oh, that was a nice little move there, as Monsalve trying to get his way around lap traffic, but that's going to be easier said than done. You see Johnson up there slicing and dicing his way through. He's got to work his way through and try and open up a big gap. Now he opens up around the 307 of Rich Gildersleeve, and it's all happening here on the final lap of competition at Willow Springs as they work their way around turn number 8. This has been Nathan Johnson's show today. We're all just living in it as he comes around 8, now sets himself up for turn number 9. He has at least 2 more opportunities to get around traffic. Coming around the final turn, checker flag will be out. Will it be enough to keep away from Monsalve? It might be, it could be, it is. Nathan Johnson, no it isn't! Mike Monsalve gets him at the line! Oh, heartbreak for Nathan Johnson. He had to really work his way around traffic. You saw the expression. Well, that was it. So Monsalve gets another win. Nathan Johnson tried to work his way around traffic and was not able to. 0.152 seconds separates your winner, Monsalve, from your pole sitter, Nathan Johnson. I had a feeling that Johnson was working his way through traffic a little harder than Monsalve. Could it have been because, Monsalve's car is very noticeable here in Porsche Owners Club? That remains to be seen, but heartbreak for Nathan Johnson as he loses it right there at the line. Osei Apiagi, your winner in GT2. Brett Gaviglio, your winner in G3. Here he comes across turn number 9. He'll run down the straightaway, and he will see the checkered flag. Brett Gaviglio, your winner here in GT3, across the line.